Ladies and gentlemen, please do make your way to the seats. We've got plenty of seating here at the front as well, so please don't be shy. You can come a little bit more forward if you like. We can have a nice intimate environment for our next session. I must say that Stefano handled that previous session so well. We had that wonderful intersection of technology and fashion, diving deep into some of the future visions for the luxury brands, but also sharing their technological insights for future reference here as well. We are moving on swiftly to another fireside chat. I'm very pleased to welcome back on stage David Rowan, who is the editor-in-chief of Wired. You saw him here earlier today for that panel discussion in the morning and some firesides as well. And we are pleased to invite from South Korea, Dr. Park Sunghyun, who's a co-founder and CEO of Rebellions. This particular session is going to do a deep dive, I'm told, into AI disruptors, unveiling unseen challenges and rewriting the rules of engagement. All very exciting. So please do join us a little bit further in if you want to. Move closer to the stage, have your questions ready. I'm sure David will be searching your faces to see who is interested in asking Dr. Park some questions. Please give our next guest a very warm welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
So, you thought there was one story in town in terms of tech companies making breakout growth. There's this company called NVIDIA whose share price explosion over the last decade has been bigger than any other tech company you can name because it makes the GPU, the graphical processing unit chip that's powering generative AI. But now you're going to realize they're not the only story in town. From South Korea, from a company called Rebellions Inc., Sunghyun Park is building a different kind of chip in a full stack model with hardware as well as software as well as algorithm. And Sunghyun, sit down and welcome, is going to tell us why this could be South Korea's moment as hardware becomes ever more important. So Sunghyun, welcome. First of all, explain what's different in the chip you're building to enable artificial intelligence calculations compared with the dominant player, NVIDIA, whose graphical processor unit is powering generative AI at the moment.
Sure. So I think kind of technically, GPU, the market number one right now, it's kind of a subset of the CPU. Exactly same. The NPU, neural processor unit that we are building right now, a subset of the GPU in terms of functionality. Meaning, the function that we can do is computed by GPU. That's the origin. However, the AI computation itself, our NPU gave more energy efficient performance and the absolute performance itself. But our NPU cannot handle any graphics rendering. We cannot handle the Bitcoin mining. However, the AI itself, we are much better on energy efficient, the performance, yeah.
So the winner in the race so far, the GPU, the G for graphics, has worked well in gaming, in creating generative AI, but you're saying there's a problem. It uses a lot of energy at a time when every company is forced to account for its CO2 emissions.
Yes.
And also, I guess, it's a US company and there are supply chain challenges to get the parts. How are you going to overcome both the energy efficiency challenge and the supply chain challenge?
So first of all, the second thing first. The supply chain management on global semicon is basically out of my scope. Currently, as you know, the geopolitical issue, the semicon, which is considered as national security. Between the United States and China, there is no semicon trading at all at this moment. Not just something physical, something logical like IP from ARM and other software companies not trading at all. Meaning the supply chain of the semicon is totally screwed up. So basically, our side, so we are startup, by the way. As startup standpoint of the only way at this moment we have the very good strategic relation with Samsung, the tech giant, and other United States company at this moment. But the first thing you talk about is the supply chain management, just basically out of our scope. So what I can do is just pray to God. Yeah, but as far as I know, Korea has a really good chance to overcome those kind of GPU shortage, wafer shortage, because we have a Samsung foundry, like the Taiwan. So the first thing, the GPU energy efficiency, so that's why we can have the opportunity like MPU. GPU, from technical point of view, it's like a general purpose hardware that can do everything, meaning it's not that much energy efficient. So for example, we technically proves that our MPU needs just 1/3 energy for same inference streaming. So meaning that at the given task, we have much lower carbon dioxide at this moment in time. So from ESG point of view, MPUs are better than GPU. That's why we have opportunity. However, in order to build the right MPU at the right time, we need to overcome the supply chain management on the worldwide. But it's government issue, it's kind of geopolitical issue. So yeah, that thing.
So I should say that Sunghyun represents one of the biggest hopes of the South Korean tech economy as we become ever more reliant on chips. At the moment, the media tends to cover South Korea in terms of boy bands and as being early adopters in messaging apps. But the truth is, AI processing is going to be in increasing demand in every sector. And you already have a team of 100, you've raised about $100 million.
Yes.
You're manufacturing already using Samsung
Yes.
factories, and you have customers already paying you. You have Korea Telecom as a customer, you have
You're right.
a Wall Street finance company.
Yes.
When you talk about building full stack AI, not just the physical hardware and the software, but the AI algorithm on top, explain what you mean by full stack and explain why you think this is your unfair advantage.
Thank you for a very good question. So let me first give you the example of the full stack AI. By the way, I was working at SpaceX and Elon Musk about 4 years ago. Elon is a big fan of the full stack. As you may know, Tesla built their own AI chips. Tesla built their own data center. Not to mention, Tesla built their own vehicle, autonomous vehicle, everything. Chips, data center, and the products. The full stack from hardware to software and the actual product, the full stack by the single company. It's exactly the same thing happened in the Google. Google Cloud Platform, Google built their own AI chip named the TPU, and Google has their own infrastructure cloud. Google Cloud Platform, Google also had their own algorithms and their own services like ChatGPT. The full stack from hardware infrastructure, system software, algorithms like GPT-3, and the service like ChatGPT. Full stack is owned by a single tech giant in the United States. That's the concept of a full stack. Then the next question is why we need a full stack instead of getting each component as a commodity, off-the-shelf commodity. The point is here, the cross-layer optimization is really good in this AI field. If I know the software stack, my hardware can be much better than existing commodity. On the other hand, if the algorithm engineers understand my hardware, they can build much better algorithm at given hardware. So we need to know each other bidirectionally that we're gonna have much better energy efficient, much better AI performance. That's why most of United States tech giants try to build full stack AI. That's the concept of full stack AI. Yeah, is it clear? Or
You spent most of your career so far in the United States. You studied electrical engineering and computer science at MIT, did a PhD. You focused on hardware. You then worked at Intel. You worked, as you said,
you're right.
at SpaceX, working on satellite communications. And then you went to Wall Street
Yes.
and worked in high frequency
That's
trading.
the service, yeah, based on AI. Yeah.
And you worked for, I think, Morgan Stanley. What made you decide to go back to South Korea?
Okay, so when I was in Morgan Stanley, I used FPGA for high frequency trading. FPGA is something between the hardware and software. FPGA. So I realized that in the near future, FPGA is replaced by ASIC. ASIC means custom chip. So I'd like to build custom chip by myself instead of the buying custom chip at the Morgan Stanley. I'd like to be a kind of tech vendor player to get the much more money. I don't need, yeah, that, but I realized that semiconductor ecosystems, Korea is going to be better than the United States. I spent 11 years in the United States, 5 years at MIT, another 6 years SpaceX and Morgan Stanley. I realized that even though the US is really good at semiconductor, NVIDIA, Broadcom, TI, but in terms of foundry, Taiwan and South Korea is better, even 5 years ago. So they're declining. On the other hand, Taiwan, Singapore, and South Korea, Asia is going up. At some point, it's going to be the crossed out. That's why I'd like to be founding the company by going back to the Korea, the semiconductor hardware, yeah.
And yet, NVIDIA seems to be winning. NVIDIA has almost total market share. What makes you feel confident that Korea can replace the US?
Good, yeah, good. So, as you know, all the guys attending here, NVIDIA is doing very well. It's world champion, just the king. Yeah, they have a numbers. Market share wise, it's 90%, 90% of the GPU instance in the United States hyperscalers, 90%. Meaning it is itself the risk. It's not normal at all. Single company occupied the 90%, nobody likes it. No hyperscalers likes it, meaning we're gonna have an alternative. It's super shortage. Hugging Face and other Gen AI companies, we call that GPU poor companies. GPU poor companies, meaning the super shortage on the AI hardware infrastructure. If we can do another alternative to their companies, we have a chance. So market itself is just a risk. At the same time, it's opportunity. From the ChatGPT, everybody knows here, surprisingly, ChatGPT was introduced a year ago, 1 year ago. Everybody talks about LLM at this moment, but realize just ChatGPT is introduced 1 year ago. Open source LLM from Meta, Llama 2, was introduced just half a year ago. It's a brand new market is now going up. Though nobody knows the demand, but we have only one supplier from NVIDIA. That's the opportunity. At the same time, risk. That's why we have a chance. South Korea have opportunities, and startups like us, we have the opportunity.
And yet, we're in a bit of a hype cycle with AI. VCs have thrown money at a lot of AI companies, particularly making software, and yet not all of them can be billion-dollar companies.
You're right, you're right.
How much of a hype bubble are we in, Sunghyun?
I personally believe, yeah, you're right, it's a hype. Everybody knows it's hype. The hype is generated by, as you mentioned, the venture capitalists and other capitals. But we still have some substance with along with the hype. Hype is going down. Hype is gone. And then the second wave of a Gen AI, right? That time we're gonna have the substance. That's the real time for our AI hardware infrastructure.
And how far away is that second wave, the productive wave?
Oh, if you ask my personal opinion, it's a couple of years later. Yeah, we need a time, not right now, not 1 year later. A couple.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my personal opinion. It's a view. No,
But that means AI embedded in all sorts of industries, making them more productive.
yes, I personally 100% sure that. Yeah.
How do you feel, though, about running a company that could take a lot of people out of their jobs, that could create deepfakes at scale, that could have unintended consequences?
That's a very good question, but yeah, I have a super concern about that situations because it's going to be reality, not just our scientific story, just reality. As you know, from my job point of view, I have worked as a program, but I realized that GPT is better than my programming at some point. It's reality even now, but 2 years later, most of programmers, low-level programmer is gone. It's reality, not just 5 years, not just 10 years. 2 years later, most of the undergrad level programmers replaced by GPT. We don't need to talk about taxi driver. I just talking about programmer. It's a high salary job. Some of the high salary jobs replaced by LLM models. It's real. Then what can I do for my daughter, for my little girls? Basically, I have no idea at this moment. But that's why we have a government, we have public side, because I also got funded by venture capitalists. I also track down the money. That's my destiny. But that's why we have the government and something public. Somebody need to look at it. Something big happen in a couple of years later. It's a real issue. But if you ask my solution, frankly, no solutions yet. But we don't need to rely on other tech giant, other super rich. They don't care about it. Believe me, yeah.
You promise you're going to be ethical?
This moment, yes, but when I get richer, nobody knows. People change. I don't know, but at this moment, yes, I think I'm ethical.
That was on the record. We're going to hold him to account.
Yeah.
So you may not have heard of Rebellions Inc. until now, but keep an eye on it because it could be South Korea's way to take on NVIDIA and competitors. Thank you for sharing your story, Sunghyun Park.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.